Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global Wellness for All podcast. My name is Laleh Hancock, and I have the great pleasure of being your host every single week, bringing in conversations, tools, resources to bringing more wellness and well-being in all aspects of our lives, whether it's relationships, it's finances, business, our bodies and mental health, whether it's having more communion with our magical earth or bringing more awareness and consciousness in everything that we're choosing. So thank you so much for being here. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Global Wellness for All podcast. My name is Laleh Hancock, and today I'm here with my beautiful friend, Dr. Helen Gitlevich. So Helen,
Hi,
welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing me on your podcast. And so glad to be here.
Well, you know what? Today we're going to talk about the magic of bodies. And so do you want to tell people a little bit about you, your background? I know you practiced medicine for a long time, and then today you get to be a facilitator of many things around the world, including 3-day body classes that empowers people to have different communication, and creation with our bodies. So say a little bit more about yourself.
Of course. Well, I have many hats, which kind of don't describe me, but I was born in Russia and came as a teenager to the United States, lived in Chicago pretty much most of my life. Went to medical school, became a medical doctor, very traditional, had my practice as a family physician, always searching though, always. I remember even being a child, the wonders of the universe, because I knew there was something more. Number one, I actually had out of body experience when I was 6 years old.
Ooh.
I don't talk much about that because a lot of people cannot receive that. But when I had an open heart surgery at 6. I had a heart defect. And so I actually was out. So everything was going on. And when I came to, the sensations were, I'll be okay. But that feeling, sensation was overwhelming joy and gratitude. It was total connection with divine, total connection with oneness, consciousness, call it whatever you want. And I never forget that. So from that moment on, even as a child, I was searching, where is that? How to get to it. At 11, I started doing yoga, meditations very early. And of course, many other modalities, including Reiki, Akashic records. And kind of like in the journey, of course, I had stresses and dealing with patients, always was intuitive. And yet, with my own body, I wasn't, well, I was aware. I was actually very aware, knowing that I should leave traditional medicine and go into alternative. Got that call at least 3 to 4 years before my open heart surgery. And that's what kind of like precipitated that. At 37, I ended up with bypass, meaning I had 2 vessels changed in my heart because there were blockages. Eating right, meditating, doing yoga and exercise, still, body was telling me something. And it communicates so clearly, energetically, not in words, but energetically. Slow down, stop, let it go, don't stress out. Didn't listen. I'm like, yeah, but I have so many patients. They need me. My husband needs me. My child needs me. How often do we do that?
Yeah.
And so when I ended up on operating table, it was kind of like, oops, stop, not moving, can't do anything. And with a slow recovery, I realized I can go back to the medicine, traditional medicine. There was some issue with my brain, issue with the heart. So I'm like, I sold my practice and started searching. Reiki, awakening, different trips to Brazil, to India, and of course, doing Akashic records and trying to teach that. Until I found access consciousness, I didn't realize how powerful our connection to the bodies are. So, of course, I started taking the classes, started learning more, and things started shifting almost magically from majorly depressed, anxious, um, in total pain with fibromyalgia, multiple different things going on. I suddenly realized, wait, I don't have to be in pain all the time. There was an interesting moment. I was at Sam's Club. I don't know if it's around the world, so not everybody knows Sam's Club, but it's warehouse store where a lot of things you can buy easily and there is variety. They were selling some spray or gel for pain in the muscles. And the guy is like, not kind of like, we talk about questions versus conclusion with a question mark attached. He comes up to me with a spray. Where is your pain? I can spray it. I know. It's like, and I scan my body. It's like, I don't have any pain. It was such a discovery. It was such a gift. He looks at me. He's like, what do you mean you don't have a pain? Because everybody is in pain. I'm actually doing a free Zoom tomorrow, uh, healing everything and not feeling good. That's kind of comes down to, because a lot of times we heal everybody. We talk about we're a SpongeBob for everybody's thoughts, feelings, and emotion and pains. It's very simple. Yes, because it belongs to and it goes away. I didn't know that before access. And with that realization, I found out that I can change so many things in the body to the point that I just found out that my heart disease actually subsiding or resolving or whatever it's called because it was obstructive. Now it's non obstructive. How does it get any better than that? After so many, I'm not telling how old I am, but after so many years, every angiogram, every stress test was telling me how much worse it's getting. Now it's like, wait, it's much better now. Your EKG improved. So, how much more magic can we be to realize that we can change anything in our lives? And I know people say, oh, not possible. Because as soon as the things happen, it's done. No, bodies are magical. I don't know if anybody saw What the Bleep Do We Know? Have you seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
It's a brilliant movie. It's half kind of like a movie and half interviews with philosophers, religious leaders, and healers. But there is a moment of actual movie where a woman, she kind of goes to a wedding, sees her ex, gets drunk, wakes up in the morning with hangover, looks in the mirror, and starts judging herself.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm old, I'm ugly, and the mirror image starts changing in front of her eyes. It's brilliantly done. She becomes that blob of wrinkles and fat and kind of like almost like a creature thing. And then she's like, no, takes a red marker and starts writing on her body, I love you. And when she started doing that, the image started changing into the beautiful woman she was.
Hmm.
And that's actually what I'd like to talk about, because we create from the point of view, from the judgment. A lot of times our body has been created from that. If we put our attention on something, that's what we create more. Our point of view creates our reality. So when we judge ourselves getting old, guess what happens? We're getting old. When we judge ourselves fat, getting fatter. All of that is just part of reversing it. Just being present with the body, being present with who we are. What if we just close our eyes for a second and just drop our barriers to our body and say, body, I love you. Maybe touch your body. Maybe like hug yourself. I love you. You're beautiful. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for taking care of me. How does it feel right now? It just took what, 30 seconds, a minute?
Well, it's amazing the minute, like you were talking earlier, what we're projecting out, whether it's about us or someone else, like the reflecting back to us. So in this case, that moment you're having gratitude for your body, it's funny because most of us don't realize, but we're judging. Like we learned as little kids to judge everything. This house is ugly, this house is beautiful. Both sides are judgments. One is a positive judgment, one is a negative judgment. They're still judgments.
Yep.
At that moment that you said, hey, close your eyes, maybe hug your body, say hello, that gratitude for our bodies actually allows the melting of that judgment. It allows that presence with your body. And thank you, because like what you shared, I want to, I let you go, with the story, but there's so
Yes.
many amazing things I want to talk about the story. Because first thing, you're 6 years old, and they
Mhm.
tell you have a heart defect and that surgery is required. I think a lot of times, a lot of people on the world think surgery is either good and exactly what's required or it's bad, where it's like each one of us has to find what's going to work for our bodies. And at that moment, maybe it was your mom who chose for you, but your body required it, it desired it. And with it came all this other information that you briefly talked about, you know? But I wonder how much it also contributed, because you've had a very interesting life. You were
Yep.
born in Russia, you came with this magical heart defect, surgery was required, you chose to live. You were in a country where your family was Jewish, not in the most welcoming place for Jewish people. Your family ended up moving to America, migrating to Chicago. You started a new journey there. Again, once again, I just want to show how each of us, we are not limited by our story. We're not limited by our health condition. You chose, Helen. You
Mhm.
chose. You're in this wonderful new country that you're calling home, and you chose to become a doctor. And it wasn't an overnight thing. You had to have many, many years of education, and I want to highlight it because you're already in the magic of the forward, but also like all these magical steps that you and your body took to get to where you are.
There was so much magic along the way. It's like if I start talking about it, it will take years to explain or describe because truly magical, truly miraculous. And to the point of taking a test for medical school, which is a full day test, which is extremely difficult. And being not a teenager, I was, I think, 20 or 21. And yeah, I think 20, still pretty young and partying, not studying much, and saying, you know what, universe, if you want me to become a doctor, I'll pass the test. And not only did I pass the test, I was in the top 2% of the country. Even after that, I'm like, do I really want to go to medical school? Show me. Missed the deadline for Northwestern, wrote out instead of typing out application to Loyola. Ended up with only 2 schools that I sent the application to, and both accepted me. Totally botched the interview, at least that's what I thought, a trash, and they gave me a scholarship.
Yeah, but this is okay. So I want to highlight this because, we talk about the magic of our bodies, but it's actually, yes, our bodies have their own consciousness, they have their own capacities and ability. And without the being occupying that body, there is no body. It requires a being to be able to actually physically live. And that being has its own capacities, abilities, and superpowers. And this embodiment, this communion of the being and the body together, the magic that can be created. Like your body contributed to this, but so did your being, and so did your choices. You choosing that, hey, yes, I'm going to go to medical school, and you allowed yourself to receive also from the universe. And how often do we look at these moments of magic and miracles that we create with our bodies as just a moment and then go to what's wrong? What's wrong with our body? Instead of like, I just was creating magic over here. What happened? And I know, like with you've had a journey where your body whispered, hey, you're not taking care of me, you're too focused over here, it's all about everyone else. And how much do we learn that? I just finished facilitating a class called Motherhood and being a mom and having a mom, and like all the lies that go with, if you're a mom, to nurture someone, to take care of them, which is what I see you as a doctor, you were doing. You were taking care of your patients, you were honoring them, you were taking care of them physically, mentally, and all sorts of other ways. While at that moment, it was all this energy out instead of also nurturing you, including you and your body, and that nurturing. And how often it's the myth of being that mother, having those mother qualities where it's like, give up you and make it be about everybody else.
Exactly. And it's not just that, it's, how we are programmed that our needs are not important. Everybody else's, at least I was programmed that way, that if I had needs, it was selfish.
Yeah.
How many of us been taught that? Oh, it's selfish to have that last piece that nobody else wants, but no, leave it for somebody else. Leave it for your sister, leave it for your brother, leave it for your mom, leave it for your child. It's pretty much that. And it's not about that. It's about actually honoring all of us, including us. It's about honoring our body. And as you said, the body started whispering. And when I didn't hear, it started screaming.
Yeah.
It's just like a radio. When you don't hear, the volume goes up. Same with our bodies. It's like, you're not listening. Hi.
Well, Helen, how about like the flip side of this? Like, what are 3 tools that you would give to others, about listening to their body and really having a different kind of conversation with their bodies?
Well, I would start probably with one of my favorites is who does it belong to? Because a lot of times in our bodies, whatever is going on might not be even ours.
Hmm.
We might be sensing something that's going on over there. Um, I remember taking a class and suddenly my hip started hurting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never had pain in my hip before. And suddenly I'm limping. And then 10 minutes later, I am hearing in the class, oh, I have this hip pain for 20 years.
Were we in
Bodies
the same class? Because, like, that happened to me too. It was so funny. I was flying from DC to Florida. Was this in the Florida class?
No, it was a Denver class. It was a body class with Mark Bronak.
Okay, because it was so funny. On my flight from DC to Florida, to Orlando, my hips started hurting. And I'm like, my whole life, I've never had hip problems. I don't even have health problems. My body is healthy and happy. And I barely could walk off the plane. I get in my back then Uber and going to the class. I get to the class. And do you know the first question the gentleman ended up asking? He was walking with a cane and he said, I've had a hip problem for the last 20 years. Just aware my body was giving me information of the future. And after that, my hips didn't hurt ever again. But it was like this moment of just how my body was communicating.
Exactly. But that's what it is. We pick up future, we pick up next to us. So that tool of who does it belong to is amazing to start your journey communicating with the body. For there is actually an app for access consciousness,
Yeah.
access consciousness, who does it belong to? And it reminds you to ask that question.
Yeah.
If you do it for 3 days, you will almost become walking, talking meditation. And so I've been using it for the last, 11, 12 years, and it's been such a gift because a lot of my aches and pains disappeared because of that, because they were not mine. I
Yeah.
was just sensing them. And it's so wonderful. You said 3 tools, right? So the second tool with the body, I would probably just ask, body, what are you telling me? What is that? What do I do with that? Can I change it? And if yes, how can I change it? It's a lot of times pretty much, it's actually probably 2 tools in one, but body will tell you what it is because it's communicating, maybe not in words, but it will show you what to change.
Yeah. And first we're going to put a link here to the app so people can download the Who Does This Belong To app. I really like, this is something that I wish, like, what would it take for every child who's born to know this tool? Because like so much of our energy wasted, so much of us freaking out is because we're aware of something or someone. And a lot of times it's also the changes in the earth. And when you said the second tool of really asking, body, what information are you sharing with me? Like, what is this? Be present with it. Because there, when I first learned, I was like, what is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? If so, like I was on this like a 5-second try to get everything, but like I'm not really allowing myself or my body or even the universe to gift me information because I'm not really listening. That's more of me doing the tool. But like
Yeah.
just the curiosity, hey body, what is this?
Mhm.
Give yourself space.
Yeah.
And it might be that when you wake up in the morning, you get this thought and you're like, oh, that's what it is. Or you're in the
Mhm.
middle of working or gardening or something, and then you get the idea. Because then that's the space you're opening for you to receive the information.
And a lot of times we kind of like, as you said, go through the movements instead of actually being present, slow down. And slowing down is probably another tool, even it's not official tool of access or anywhere else, but slowing down. And there is even meditation that Gary recommends, that walking meditation of 50 feet in 1 hour, just being present with the earth, being present with the nature, and with all the smells, all the sounds. And that's where we start functioning from consciousness, not from autopilot of unconsciousness and anti-consciousness. Because a lot of times when we are going through the motions, we're not present in our lives. We're not being, we're just doing, reacting. And that's when all those aches and pains, all those distractions comes in. And a lot of times that transforms into illnesses, because our points of view creates reality. So if there is a pain, there might be something wrong. Instead of, oh, what information am I getting in this second?
Yeah. And
Because
we'll
people,
also, yeah, we'll also put a link to Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness. And in one of the classes, a 7-day class many years ago in New Zealand, he gave people this as a homework, like a home play, like go walk. And, at first when I heard it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's so easy. Yeah, I'm going to do that. But it's literally 100, is it 100 yards? Anyway, it's like 50 miles, or you could say 100 miles, whatever you want to say. No, no,
no,
that's
not
not it.
miles, 50, I think it was like either 50 yards or 100 yards or 100 feet. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's more like 100 feet, I think is what it was. But it's this short distance that you're going to do in 1 hour. And it is like not about like here, one foot in front of the other, keep going. It literally is that moment that you're connecting with the earth, you're connecting with, the little critters, you could start to hear them. You can even like perceive, watch, and hear the leaves on the trees, like it really becomes becoming more aware of your environment. Now, this is where with this, your awareness does exponentialize. So the tool number one Helen gave you and tool number two she gave you are going to be even more important.
We're
Again,
not making it easy for you, but saying it's not making it easy, it creates much more ease with the body, because then we can change things. Because it's funny with a tool like, what is that? Body, what are you telling me? Sometimes it's like body requires some nutrients that we don't have. It was so funny, but like as simple as Coke, like Coca-Cola. For years, 20 years, I would not drink Coke. And then with Access, they were like, yeah, Coke actually helps with energy work when you need sugar, salt, and water. And I remember facilitating one class, I crawled out, not walked out, crawled out of the class. And my body was screaming, Coke. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not drinking Coke. My body's like, Coke. I'm like, no. And the conversation went on for about 5 minutes. And then I gave up and got a Coke, drank maybe like a quarter of a can. And it was such a gift because my eyes opened up and I was not dizzy anymore.
yeah. It's so interesting because even in the hospital, once I took my ex-husband and he had no energy, and we weren't sure what was going on. And they ran all sorts of tests. They did CAT scan, X-rays, you name it. And at the end, the only thing they gave him was 2 small cans of Coca-Cola, and he was anti-Coke, anti-soda. So he was like, "What do you mean you're giving this to me?" They're like, "Please, just take it." And he did. He ended up drinking the first can, and he actually started to have more energy and feel better, which was totally the opposite of what we've learned, is that all these things that are good for us, all these things that are bad for us, but you got to know what does your body require and not make it based on what everyone else is saying, you know? And yeah, so after that, we always had Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's not a commercial for Coca-Cola, but
No.
it's
Hey,
just,
Coca-Cola, I'll have the royalties though. I'll have the
yes,
royalties.
please,
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
I will take the royalties, of course. And it's so interesting how it's like you cannot eat that, you cannot drink that, and yet there are certain elements in each food, in each thing that body might require in different moments of life.
Mhm.
But if we
Yeah.
have a point of view, then it's a big no, 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 no.
We're at the end of our show for today. I'm curious, Helen, is there anything else that you would like to share? Maybe something coming up for you, or if there's another tool or anything else that you would like to share with people.
Kind of like going off what we've talked about, pretty much just asking questions constantly, not going into conclusion what the body is, what the body does, what the body needs, and asking in each second, body, what would you like to eat? Body, what would you like to wear? Who would
Yeah.
you like to be with? All of those questions will open up the possibilities of shifting and changing something that creates different reality for you in the body.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for you in your show today.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here. And you guys, there's so much around bodies. There's so many different tools. With Access Consciousness, we have so many different areas that you can learn more about all of this. And then there's specialties, like Helen is a facilitator of many things, including a 3-day body class where it's 3 days of really having a different kind of communication with your body and starting not just a healing because there's something wrong, but really healing that communication with each other and receiving tools to really boost your immune system and so many other things. There's like 60 different tools, different body processes that are in that class. And really recommend you guys starting to ask questions. And if you would like, you can start with the bars, you can start with different classes. There's lots of intro classes. I also have one coming up, a Right Body for You intro class coming up in a few months. I think it's in October as well. But like, start to, even as she described earlier, body, what is this? Because, like you mentioned, so often pain, intensity, these things are ways our body communicates with us. And immediately we want to go into, I have a problem. I have a health problem. I need to go see a doctor. I have to fix my problem with my body. But as you start to use the tool of who does this belong to, it might be your body's telling you, let's go to the doctor. But it may also be it's saying, hey, it's about to rain today. Like for me, my kneecap dislocated when I was in high school. And whenever we were going to have rain, my left knee, the day before would let me know that tomorrow it's going to rain. So I had like a little body machine that would tell me, tomorrow,
Yeah.
take your umbrella with you.
That's so cool. It's funny, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. body is telling us. And it could be ours. It doesn't have to be somebody else's.
Yeah.
That's what the question, who does it belong to, mine or somebody else's?
Yeah. And you'll find with when you download the app, there's also a lot of you could set your own time setting to how often it pops up and tells you to ask the question, who does this belong to? The first 3 days, I really recommend you do it like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing with the app, I found out it has to be open in the background. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Thank you,
It's
because
one of
I
the
didn't know
old,
that.
yeah, it's an old app, so it doesn't refresh unless it's open.
You know, it was so funny because like I love to close all my screens,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, how come I didn't get an alert? And I'm like, because I turned it off. So if you turn it off, it's not going to tell you.
It has to be open to tell you.
Oh, so thank you guys for being here. And thank you, Helen. I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful for your body. I'm so grateful for everything you and your body create every single day and the magic you create, not just in the Chicago district, but you actually travel globally and all the bodies you've empowered around the world. So thank you for you.
Thank you. And if anybody's interested, I have a class coming up in Minneapolis soon.
Oh, yes, that's right. So for all of you that are watching, Helen has a 3-day body class coming up on the 26th, 20,
Six
26th, yes,
of August.
of August. And Helen, and we'll have it in the show notes as well, but you can go to accessconsciousness.com/Helen Gitlevich. Yeah. And then you're also your link to your website if they'd like to have a session with you, or if they would like to take on maybe a different class that you might be offering.
And on the website, there is also blog and videos and lots of links to, and also to all the classes that I'm facilitating around the world.
Yeah. And also Helen, has her podcast that has a wealth of information too. If you guys are interested in learning more, she has some really cool topics that she also has on her shows. So if they're interested, and we'll have all those links in the description below. So you guys are welcome to go check it out and reach out to Helen if you have any questions.
And actually, if anybody would like a gift on my website, Creating Abundance with Ease, there is expansion exercise or meditation that people can download for free.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's how they sign up to the newsletter if they decide to. And then they can unsubscribe, but they will get the gift for free.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. And it's incredible what our bodies and expanded space can create. So I definitely recommend you guys, yeah, ask your bodies and go download it and start to listen. And the gift of these audios are not a one-time thing. It really is like the more you play it. I play audio all night long, all day throughout the day, and it starts to create a different change in our world. So really, what else is possible? We've never considered before. So thank you, beautiful friend. And I look forward to hugging you soon. And until then, thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. And please definitely like, comment, share, get it out there. Because what would it take for like everyone to know that there's something so different and magical available with our bodies? Thank you, Helen. Bye. Thank you so much for being here, whether you were listening or watching live or on a replay. We are so grateful for you. We want to hear from you. What would you like to hear about? What are topics that get you excited and you would like to know more about? You can message us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or even sending us a message at globalwellnessforall.com/contact. And also, would you be willing to assist us? Would you be willing to contribute spreading these seeds of wellness and well-being to others? And as always, we are so happy you're here and what is truly possible with our amazing planet the minute we're willing to have more wellness and well-being. See you next time.